When you need a sports show to quench your thirst. For the latest news, best analysis, and business of sports, it's Boss Sports.
Brilliant goal! What an equaliser!
From the mind-blowing dribbles, body smacks, to the powerful dunks that defy gravity. Enjoy the thrills, the squeaky bum time, and feel the passion of everything sports on Boss Sports. Every weekday from 7:30 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. Boss Sports on Boss 98.9 FM Owerri.
And it's gone in! Amazing!
Good evening and welcome to Boss Sports on Boss Radio 98.9 FM, where I remain yours sincerely, Osaze Sports Pilot. Aftermath of the Heartland Football Club before against Rivers United, issues and matters arising ensued, and we will definitely be discussing a lot of that on the show this evening as we take a look at the underperforming syndrome, that has already been done with Manchester United. I will tell you who and who made the list released by CAF for the males and coaches best, of course, award on the continent, except the women's category. CAF is said to release the women's category, then we will know who will be making, of course, the list for the African best women's footballer of the year. But meanwhile, we'll tell you who actually made the cut as CAF releases his 30-man list for that award. All this and more will hit you in the course of the show this evening. My name is Osaze, your sports pilot. Follow us swiftly, closely as we roll in the show on the show this evening, so that you have a better understanding to contribute, to probably ask us questions or say contributions, because you will really have to contribute based on what we are discussing and based on what we'll be discussing on the show this evening. So listen to us carefully and follow us closely in the course of the show, so that you will actually be giving us in-depth analysis and making a very, very frantic and well-coordinated analysis and contributions on the issues we are going to be tackling on the show this evening. Well, let me tell you that you can join the conversation by sending us a WhatsApp messages on 0806 392 399. I take that number again, 0806 9992 999. That is the number for the WhatsApp messages. We are equally live on Facebook. Yes, of course, you can catch us live on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM, or like our page and drop your comment. You can also download our app on your various mobile stores to watch us live or see us live wherever you are around the world. You can log on to www.boss989fm.com and you equally achieve the same thing, just like the way you actually download our app. We will tell you the lines to call in the course of the show this evening. I have the usual suspect in the studio. I'm talking about the Nigerian certified referee who knows his onions in the game. I'm referring to the Honorable Dean Uzoma, whom you people call the Uzo Sports. Definitely. Welcome back to Boss Radio, my very good friend.
Yeah, good evening, Osaze. Good evening, listeners. It's good to be back here to do sports this evening.
And definitely, we are going to expose things that need to be exposed on the show this very evening. So if you miss any seconds of the show, you have yourself to blame. Sincerely speaking. Let's actually begin with a boxing issue, because the best club at the media nationwide boxing league will win 20 million naira prize, according to the information released by the organizers of that competition known as Ugateko Boxing Promotions. Well, according to Ugateko Promotions managing director and chief executive officer Omele Yakubu Imadu, the league will run for 12 weeks with different boxing clubs fighting for the pause. Imadu explained that the league will hold in 8 venues in Lagos State and 6 venues in other southwest states, saying that the league will definitely hold at the gymnasium of the National Institute for Sports, that's NIS National Stadium Lagos, on the 6th of this month and 7th of this month, before moving to Ikorodu on the 10th and 11th of this month. It will be the turn of Agege on the 17th and 18th of November, from where it will actually move to Mole, to Ibadan and Akure before holding in Ijabode and Abeokuta, and then return to Ibadan, of course, Lagos State. We're explaining the modalities for the league. The Edo State Bomb promoter stated that boxers would get points fighting in each venue, and in that, apart from the 20 million at stake, boxers would equally get points for each appearance, just as clubs would actually get points depending on the performance of the outing. So good to know that this amazing stuff is actually happening in Lagos State. More in fact, to actually chronicle the whole southwestern state in Nigeria, and I can tell authoritatively that the winners will be smiling home, of course, with amazing prizes. Apart from the 20 million naira that is up for grab, other winners will definitely be getting amazing and fantastic prizes. So I must really commend, of course, you can take for coming up with this amazing organizing boxing competitions, believing that those who will be finding themselves involved in this competition will definitely must avail themselves the opportunity to compete favorably. You never can tell, you may be picked by one or two clubs as in their ability to sign you, and you actually get yourself put on the world map. So congratulations to the boxers who will be participating in this you got to promotion boxing competition. More information related from the boxing world has it that Ramla Ali insists she is a seasoned pro at overcoming challenges as she prepares for a rematch against Yulisa Alejandra Guzman on this Saturday. Of course, that fight will be taking place in 2 days from now. Well, Ali, who is 34 years of age, is seeking revenge over Guzman after being stopped by the Mexican in the month of June this year. The short defeat was the first of Ali's career, and the Somalia-born Bruton says that she had no doubt about immediate rematch, of course, in Monte Carlo. Well, according to her, my whole life has sort of been riddled with challenges. You cannot really let fear keep you from doing what you want to do and keep you from achieving your goals and your dreams. Well, that's amazing, honestly. I can actually witness her expressions, and she's well determined to kind of take a proper revenge over her opponent anyway. Ali, who has 8 wins and that single defeat on her professional record, fled war torn Somalia as a child for Great Britain, and has since become an Olympian activist and model, as well as a pro boxer. Guzman, who is 26 years, produced an upset to beat Ali, dropping her in rounds 5 and 8 before Ali was actually counted out from the second knockdown. The Mexican looked to intimidate Ali during the face-off at the news conference in Monte Carlo today. It happened in the morning of today. Guzman kissed both her feet and moved right in front of Ali's chin before moving her head towards her opponent. Ali did not flinch, and legal security pulled Guzman back. Where Guzman is actually fighting, he's actually looking for trouble, and trouble shall he get this Saturday. So Ali is preparing very well for this rematch against Guzman. She's wounded, she's very furious, she's very angry, she's still having that pain in her heart, and she wants to take her revenge properly come this Saturday. I hope she wins. Ali is not from Nigeria, she is from Somalia, so don't actually link her to Muhammad Ali. No, she's not from that lineage. Before we get to football matters, and I really want to kind of ask Dinu Zama some questions, before I do that, let me continue with some of the information I have here. Let's move, of course, to the baseball, because the Texas Rangers are World Series champions for the first time in the franchise 60-year-old history after beating the Arizona Diamondback Blacks, of course, 5-0 to clinch the best of 7 series 4-1. Neither side registered a run in Phoenix until Mitch Garver drove in Corey Seager Liga in the 7th innings. Well, it's an amazing, honestly, but the fight has not really ended. We are going to see more interesting and definitely more dramatic scene in days ahead. I can't wait to see that drama ensue. Away from that, let's take a look at what is happening in the world of cricket. Definitely, or rugby rather, on the show this evening. England's Winnie Burns has announced his retirement from refereeing following his appearance in last Saturday's Rugby World Cup final between South Africa, known as the Springboks, and New Zealand, called the All Blacks. Burns actually became the second Englishman to officiate a final after Ed Morrison, who took charge in the year 1995, which was the first edition. South Africa got themselves involved after actually having a kind of approval from the World Rugby to be part of rugby competition. The 44-year-old sent off New Zealand captain Sam Kerr for the first half hard tackle before South Africa actually won 12-11. Burns will continue to advocate for referees. Following report he received death threats. And funny enough to know that Sam Kerr of New Zealand became the first rugby player ever to be sent off in a Rugby World Cup final. Nobody has ever kind of found himself or herself in that situation, but the New Zealand rugby player Sam Kerr, became the first player to have that bad record. And after that competition, many New Zealand fans sent death threat to the umpire. Probably that could have kind of prompted his sudden retirement, but whatever happens, I just hope the police will actually put this particular umpire in a very safety position, because it doesn't really make sense to see an umpire after doing his job he will be receiving death threats. It doesn't really make sense at all. Well, let's get some football matters here. Let me remind you that we are still very much live and active on Facebook. Of course, you can catch us live on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM, or whether like our page and drop your comment. You can also download our app on your various mobile stores to listen to us live, watch us live wherever you are around the world. Log on to www.boss98fm.com, and definitely you can drop your comment as well on our WhatsApp page. Of course, the WhatsApp number still remains 0806 9992 999 0806 9992 999. That is number for the WhatsApp messages. Now we want to look at the aftermath of the Heartland game against Rivers United. Yes, many Imolites were not happy after that game. Some of them who were at the stadium to see that game regretted coming to watch that game. And that game divided the Imolites' opinions, over if Coach Christian Obi should be fired or still return as Heartland Football Club of Owerri coach. Now I really want to get your input on this issue. Gino Zoma, the struggling Heartland Football Club of Owerri has found themselves, the problem that they found themselves, the inability of the club to win any single game this season so far, 6 matches, and they are still, of course, not really doing well in terms of winning games. 6 matches, 4 points, which is very, very appalling. Could you actually shed more light on the issue affecting the Nazi Millionaires?
Well, the issue affecting Heartland this season, we've talked about it severally, and instead of things to improve and get better, it is getting worse instead. Right now, the most painful thing is that Heartland didn't just garner 4 points in 6 games. That is drawing 4 games and losing 2. Heartland currently occupies the last position, the 20th position on the table. So if peradventure we just say let the league end now, that means Heartland finished 20th. Heartland is going back to relegation and all that. And if you look at all these things, the coach and the entire management of Heartland FC have been given, they were given before, prior to the game they played away to Abia Warriors, they were given 2-match ultimatum to save their job and all that. And we analyzed that ultimatum here. At the end of the day, they were supposed to at least get a draw away and then win home, get 4 points and all that. But eventually, instead of that to happen, what rather happened was that Heartland lost away, they won with a lone goal, and then came back to Dananyom to continue the draw. They drew the game. And there's one thing again about Heartland is that when the game starts, before they will raise your hope. They will score goal, and the fans will cheer, shout, and celebrate the goal. Before you could say Jack Robinson, they have conceded, and when they concede, they will not score. So at the end of the day, the game will now end draw. And if you check the games that Heartland have drawn, the first game of the season that they played, at home, they first of all went down 2 goals and eventually came back in the second half to equalize and then drew the game and all that. People commended them for that performance. The heroics of Mwabaga, who came from the bench to give 1 assist and equalize eventually. Now they went away and drew another game, and then the other time you just come here, Heartland, before you know it, they have scored. Before you know it, they have equalized and conceded goal and all that. They could not go ahead to win no matter what happens. Now the thing there is, yes, there is crisis in the team. The entire management of Heartland, yes, this time around, the ultimatum given to them to save their jobs, they could not save, they could not get the points needed. So it is left for the owner of Heartland. Yes, partially the fans, the Imolites, we own the club, but the day-to-day running of the affairs of the club, the financial of the club, is the state government. So I think the Ministry of Sports have to look into it to now know if they, relieve the coaching crew and the entire management of their duties, and see if they can point, a new one. And now we have also analyzed that yes, Coach Christian Obi saved Heartland, played the NNL unbeaten, and eventually qualified Heartland to come back to the top flight of Nigerian football and all that. Now the thing there is, most of the players used to play that NNL, most of them left, and now the players that we assigned, so many of them, there's a developing story that the governor gave over 40 million naira to the management to sign players. Now where are the players? Where is the money? How many players we assigned? How much were they signed? All these things were all left in the dark. At least you should know so and so players were signed from so club with so and so amount, so that we'll be able to know how that over 40 million naira was expended, and we can look at the value. And then the coach Christian Obi has himself complained that even the players signed, he has not been able to really understand them, because as a manager, as a coach, you need to have an understanding of your players, know their technical abilities, know their strength, know their psychological well-being and all that, before you now know how and when to deploy them in games.
Just hold on. You said, of course, there is crisis in the team. One question is, has the management been able to own up that there is crisis in the team?
Well, Osaze, if at the end of a game, a home game, you're supposed to win and you draw, eventually what you are seen doing is to pray after the game. I mean, there is no other admittance of crisis than that, because it is said that Jehovah. So at that point, for the coach to start praying at the end of that game, it means that something is not going the right way. And they don't even need to admit it. They don't need to come out to give a press conference or issue an open statement that yes, there is crisis in the team. They may not admit, but from all indications and what we can see, the way Heartland played in a disjointed manner, the way Heartland played in untactical manner, you cannot see the philosophy of the team. You don't know the kind of football they are playing. There's no pattern. So these things are the evidence is there that yes, this team is filled with crisis. The other time we talked about Enyimba, how they crashed out from the continental competition and all that. Now in their last game they went away and drew. Now they still have, I think, about 3 outstanding games and all that. 3. Despite that they occupied the relegation zone and all that. But gradually, let us see how it. But I said it that the crisis there too is palpable. We could see, but the thing there is, there is a problem. The problem has been identified. Then what should be the solution? I think that is where we are now in Heartland. But if you're talking about if there is a problem in Heartland, yes, there is a serious problem of management, of funds. The way if the governor releases money, apart from the 100 million naira he gave to the players and the management for winning NNL, released over 40 million
to sign players. Now the coach saying he's still finding it difficult to understand the players he has. Indirectly, is he telling us that most of the players that came actually came without his permission?
That is the point.
Okay, which means the management signed players for him.
Yes.
Now, are they not the same players he used during pre-season?
I said earlier that most of the players, okay, during pre-season, I mean after the NNL, before they started the game. Yes, Osaze, you saw how Heartland played their pre-season game. I think the 3 games or so that they played, they lost 2 and drew 1, if I'm not mistaken.
But I could score them 60 over 100.
Yes, Osaze, during preseason games, things happen. You may see a team, you may see a club losing preseason game. We say it's a dummy game, it doesn't matter. And eventually, when the season starts proper, you see those things that happened at the preseason, repeating themselves. And then there is something. Preseason is like a game that you use to test your players, test your tactics and all that. Sometimes at the back of the mind of the managers and players, most times they don't always take the preseason games that serious, knowing that probably there's nothing at stake. This is just to feel the turf, get into shape, and to start the season. And at the end, when the season now starts, actually you now see things happening.
But in the Nigeria Premier League, we all know coaches don't have a say.
Yes.
When it comes to players that come,
yes,
and players that actually leave.
Yes.
So Coach Christian Obi is not a novice in the league.
Yes.
So telling us that he still find it difficult to understand the players he has, it's not an excuse.
Okay, Osaze, what happens to scouting system?
Okay.
When you scout for players, there are things, when you scout for players, there are things you get to show the technical crew,
okay,
that this is the player we need for so and so position. There are video clips, there are statistics of that players and all that they should bring. So, and I think before, yes, the coach has no say in signing of players in the NPFL and in the Nigerian league, which is abnormal,
yes,
to me.
Yes.
Now, if you go to scout players and say you want to bring this player to Heartland, the onus lies on whoever is scouting those players to show the coach, see this. The coach should be able to at least analyze the statistics of the player and see the player in some situations. Like, there's something we call striker's instinct. Assuming you go and bring a new striker, you don't need to see the striker score before you know what he can bring to the big party. Ordinary movement of the striker when his player has the ball, the way he moves towards goal, the way he moves to open space for him to be passed the ball, the way he hits the ball, even if he hits and misses. When you watch these things, it will tell you that this is the striker I need. This is the kind of striker I need to carry my team and other. When you watch Victor Osimhen, just mere watching Victor, the way he runs, you can understand that this guy is bad when it comes to killing of games, scoring goals and all that. So those are the things we're talking about. If there are, yes, before you sign a player, the coach needs to see at least clips, analysis, and even the build of the player, because Pep Guardiola most times prefers players who are heavily built.
This is Nigeria.
Who are tall, who are huge.
This is Nigeria.
These are the things. So the point you're making here is the coach himself should have his own preference in terms of appearance, in terms of technical ability of the players and all that. So whereby these things are lacking, you never know that there's a communication lacuna that has culminated into the problem we are now talking about in Heartland FC.
Okay, now you mentioned the scouting sector or scouting department,
yes,
in Nazi Millionaires. It beholds on us whether they have a strong scouting department, just like what anybody did many years ago under the tutelage of a fellow is Anyansiago,
yes,
where they won a CAF Champions League back to back.
Yes,
the coaches that won those titles for Enyimba, Morde and Kadini Kala never had much say, in terms of players that were signed by Enyimba who won the Champions League for them.
Yes.
But Enyimba had structure, Enyimba had system, Enyimba had standard, Enyimba had viable scouting system, which actually made the job of the coach easier. Now, unlike what they have at the moment, with due respect to Kanuma, Enyimba's structure is crumbling. Sincerely speaking, is crumbling. So I totally agree with you. If Heartland Football Club can go back, they should ask Philippa yourself with some questions. How did you manage to do this magic for 25 solid years? Anybody were doing well, even though when they were robbed on the continent.
Yes. Osaze, there's something else. Here, sometimes what you hear is so and so coach is now in charge of so and so team. You don't get to hear the contract signed. You don't get to see the details.
Yeah.
How many years contract did this person sign? The next thing you hear is that this person has left the club. They are owing him. Sometimes players even live in anger because they are owing him, because another club has offered them something better and ensure that they will be paid. You see them going. When we talk about Heartland, it also graduates to the entire league, how it is run, where you even see players signing contract in proxy. You are trying to sign Ikenna Okoro, and the person signing the contract for him is at the end of the day, Iken Okoro's name is the one. He's the one to play the ball, but he doesn't get to know the contract signed. We're not even talking about the agency system.
Thank you very much. That is the big
in
problem.
our league. So the point is, there is no structure
At all.
no structure in the league, no structure in the clubs. So these things, you see us, we are just doing probabilities and conjectures.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, convergence of probabilities and conjectures cannot give you one certitude, and that is what we can see that is going on. My heart bleeds because if Heartland maybe you continue to struggle, the next thing you see, the management will be relieved of their duties. Then now, who are you replacing them with?
Good question.
Who are you replacing them with? What ultimatum are you giving them? How many years contract?
What magic?
What magic will
they come to perform?
Yes,
That's the big question.
so those are the things, Osaze.
Okay, we hope that the management will get it right as we are monitoring the situation closely to see what is going to happen with the current coach of Heartland Football Club, Coach Christian Obi. Enough of Heartland issue. Let's look at Manchester United. Underperformance this season. A lot is happening in Manchester United. They are struggling in the league. The League Cup they played yesterday, they were actually booted out by Newcastle United. I saw more disjointed Manchester United team last night, and I saw a Manchester United manager who could not boldly express himself. I looked at his face and I discovered that this man has issues, and there has been report that there is unrest at the dressing room, that he is no longer at peace with some players because some big boys in the team have advised him to recall Jadon Sancho, but he said he will never recall Sancho until he apologizes to him, and Sancho said he will never apologize to him. So how can we solve Manchester United's problem, because it's becoming unbearable?
Yes, Osaze, I think there's something I told one Manchester United fan yesterday when we were talking about their issue after the game. He now said, okay, what do we do? He said, where do we go from here? I said, all of you should go to Sir Alex Ferguson's house and beg him to come back. That the structure collapsed after Ferguson left. Check his record and the things he has achieved at Manchester United. Since he left, there was a certain David Moyes, there was Mourinho, there was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and this time around there's Erik ten Hag. I mean, after, I think among these people, yes, Mourinho stayed a little, he didn't stay all that long. Now they brought a club legend like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to steady the ship. He tried and all that. Now bringing Erik ten Hag. Now there are things there. Osaze, anywhere Pep Guardiola is going today to coach, his CV is there. Everybody knows him. He's a big man, so he can impose his authority. Pep Guardiola, when he comes, if he looks at you, he doesn't need that to play. You will go. He will get the players he wants and manage them. We know what happened when he was at Barca, and what gravitated to him leaving and all that. At Bayern Munich, he played. Then at Man City, you can see him happen. Yes. Now, Erik ten Hag to me is not a marquee coach before he came to Manchester United. To me, he was close to a nobody. Yes, the ratings of the leagues, the Eredivisie, where he was coming from. Yes, he won the league with Ajax, broke all those records and all that, went far in the Champions League and all that. But Ajax, yes, with much respect to Ajax for what they have achieved over the years, but Ajax, in terms of recent history of football, in terms of pedigree, Ajax is nowhere close to Manchester United. That was the first thing. Yes. So that time we were looking at coaches like Zidane and all that who have won the Champions League and all that, who have managed a big club like Real Madrid and all that to take over. Now they brought Erik ten Hag with his philosophy. Yes, when there are philosophies and all that. There's forgotten the coach that said they were playing game press and all that. Now, what pattern is Erik?
Uncle Raf.
Yes. So now, what pattern is he playing at Manchester United? What kind of game is he playing? Now, when this thing started happening, we talked about injuries in the team. They were giving excuse with injuries. Now, the likes of Varane is back. Casemiro is back. Wan-Bissaka is back. Most of those guys are back. Also, if you look at Rashford when he started his career, we are expecting that by now Rashford should be up there with the likes of Mbappe. Considering how he actually amassed 30 goals. Yes. In one season. Yes. Last season. Yes. Also, if you look at the debut of Martial at Manchester United against Liverpool, if I'm not mistaken, where he scored 2 goals, you should expect that Martial should be among the players better, shouldering the team and all that. Now, I could remember I've talked about Erik ten Hag's man management skills. Very, very poor. Because when you don't get it right with the players, give them the tactics, give them your philosophy and all that, it is you are not, after giving it to them, you will not enter the pitch to apply those things. They are still the ones. So when the players have lost confidence in you as a manager, they know that when the poor results are coming, all of them will not be sacked. The manager will be the one to be sacked. So to me, it started with Cristiano Ronaldo. He couldn't manage that ego. Yes, Cristiano Ronaldo himself, he didn't do so well, especially the time he walked out on the team when he was. But look at that particular incident. A big player like Ronaldo, you are bringing him just almost seconds to the game to end the game. I mean, who does that? Humiliation. So after that, now other things continued, and I said that this man is losing his dressing room, and this is the effect. Manchester United is a big club.
It's a big club.
So look at the records: 8 home games. You have lost 5. This thing has never happened in Manchester United in the recent history. Even since Alex Ferguson left, the last of Moyes did not do this. The last of Ole Gunnar, even the Ralf Rangnick that we're talking about, didn't do this.
The last time United found themselves in this particular level, in this particular underperforming category, was in 1929.
Yes,
many years. I was not even born.
Yes, so many of the players who are playing at Manchester United now, none of them was born.
None of them.
Even those who played with Alex Ferguson,
none of them was born.
Then.
None of them was
Look
born.
at history as Osaze on the negative. I mean, if you must break history, break a positive history.
Honestly,
create records, break records positively, not negatively. To me, we have talked about the Glazers giving up Manchester United, sale of the club. If you are tired of money, because when we talk about the football aspect of the crisis in Manchester United, we also talk about the off football. You saw what Ronaldo revealed before he left. I wonder how many of those things he revealed that have changed now.
I don't believe any of them has been changed.
And the Glazers are there milking the club without really trying to salvage the club.
They want to sell the club for 5.6 billion US dollars.
Yes.
Why the club is actually owing $1 billion US dollars?
Yes.
Can you imagine?
As I said, to me, there's what we call diminishing returns. The Glazers, to me, to redeem Manchester United, because over the years, Manchester United in English football has gotten to a level of, being a force to reckon with. Manchester United has risen to the level of giants.
There is no fear factor again.
No fear factor.
Any club is coming to beat Manchester United.
This time around, in a league, in a cup tie, Newcastle defeated them. They couldn't score 1 goal for their home fans at Old Trafford. That was referred to as Theatre of Dreams. Osaze.
Shameful.
This time around, Old Trafford under Eric Ten Hag has turned to Theatre of Shattered Dreams, Theatre of Shame. It should not continue.
It's very, very shameful, honestly. And some of the football pundits, some of the Manchester United legendaries have started to speak out, but they've not really gone directly to asking the management to sack Ten Hag. But if this thing continues, I can tell you that before January next year, the Dutch manager will be asked to leave that position, and it will be very, very shameful to him. Well, away from Manchester United, let's actually look at the African Football League. Of course, where the finals will be between Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa and the Wydad Casablanca of Morocco, because Mamelodi Sundowns played out goalless draw against Al Ahly of Egypt, while Wydad Casablanca defeated Esperance of Tunisia 5 goals to 4 penalties. So I'm happy it will not be all North African affairs, one from North Africa, one from Southern Africa. I don't know who Uzoma will be rooting him, but I believe he will definitely support the club from south part of Africa, that is South Africa. Don't ask me the club I will be supporting, but do you know, how have you seen this African Football League is a maiden edition? Are you really impressed with the level of the organizers of this competition, the level the competition has reached so far? Finals will be coming up on the 5th of this month, that is this Sunday. What is assessment on the competition?
Well, to me, this is a big money competition, the first of its kind in Africa. Okay. When it was coming, it was being called, African Super League. Yeah. Eventually, now it came to the limelight at African Football League and all that. Yeah. And Enyimba FC of Nigeria has the honor to be the only Nigerian, team to be selected to, though they had a dismal outing and all that. And eventually, the competition gravitated to its crescendo and getting to the semi-finals, where we now see a North African side, squaring up against a South African side. In fact, Mamelodi Sundowns, to me, yes, the way they qualified, it is not easy. they were able to hold this guy to a goalless draw.
And they were actually, the RLE side were awarded penalty in the first half, 20 minutes. They failed to convert it.
They failed to convert. They missed the penalty. So when they missed that penalty, I was telling someone that this penalty they missed will eventually haunt them. They have just lost the opportunity to get to the finals. And to my own, in fact, when they missed that penalty, I was happy.
Even me too.
Because I was supporting Mamelodi Sundowns to get to the finals.
Yeah,
now, you know that the owner of Mamelodi Sundowns is currently the CAF, president and all that.
Yes.
So the thing there is, if backroom politics of football comes to play, Mamelodi Sundowns stands a better chance. But if that politics doesn't get to influence the game that much, eventually it will be a 50-50 final.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you, honestly. I don't know whether Beatrice Mosepe will be willing to play that backroom politics, because the way I'm looking at it, my top boss is telling me that Wydad Casablanca will be winning the trophy, but I don't know what is going to happen this Sunday. But Mamelodi Sundowns South Africa, they are well positioned, honestly, and what is going to be a tough game. Remember, it's going to be 2 legs tough, both home and away. So if the South African team will take advantage of their home and they go away to get at least a draw, they'll be crowned champions.
But Osaze, you know that in 2-legged ties, the team that plays the second leg
has the upper hand.
The upper hand.
Yes.
They have the advantage. I wish they have given South Africa the but if you check how they qualify, these people got to the finals first, and so in terms of fixing all these things, they always gave preference to the team that got there first and all that.
Definitely.
But whatever happens, my heart goes out for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Oh my God!
So I have something to celebrate.
No, this is still Boss Sports and Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Let me remind you that we are very much live and active on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 FM Owerri. Like our page and drop your comments. Can also send us your WhatsApp messages on 0806 9992 999. That is 0806 392 399. You can download our app on your various mobile stores to listen to us and watch us live wherever you are around the world. You can equally check us up on our website, boss989fm.com. The phone lines are open right away. You can call us on 090-922-29922, 090-922-29922, or 091-226-77989, 091-226-77989. I still have the Uzo Sports, of course. It is the honorable himself, the usual suspect, Dino Zoma in the studio. I will be talking a lot of issues affecting sports and activities. We are actually heading to the CAF nominees. It is very, very shameful, Uzoma. It is very, very shameful that only 2 Nigerian players made the nominee list in all categories, both the young player of the year, the coach, the player, the national team. We don't have any Nigerian in the coach, both national team coaches and the interclub coaches. Even Nigeria as a team, Super Eagles, that actually recorded the highest goals in during the Nations Cup qualifiers. Nigeria recorded the highest goals, but Nigeria was omitted. We were not really even nominated, when it comes to the national teams of the year. Dean, just break it down, break the whole stuff down for us.
Yes, I think for this award, one of the things that CAF, the organizers have said is that they consider performance from I think between September last year and August this year. So that is the first thing. Wherever your team is, wherever a player is between this period, and those are the things they considered and all that. Now, if you check also among the players shortlisted for the best players award and all that, we have Victor Osimhen there, who fortunately finished 8th position. 8th position in the last Ballon d'Or award.
The first Nigerian to make the top 10 and went ahead to finish top 8.
Apart from Jodwe that won the Ballon d'Or and all that.
We have Sadio Mane finished
I think 11th.
Last season he finished. Sadio Mane finished within the top 4 last season.
Okay.
Yes. Third.
Yes. So this time around, I mean, the first Nigerian to get to that stage and all that. It is commendable. And all that. Now, we cannot say because he came 8th and the highest ranked.
Hold on. I have confirmed that Mamelodi Sundowns of South Africa will play second leg at home.
We'll play away first.
Away first. I'm so happy.
Yes. Let's see what happens. So the point you're making here is, some of us will now argue that because Victor Osimhen came 8th in the Ballon d'Or, therefore he should be the highest ranked African. But no, there are categories, and then there are voting patterns. CAF themselves have rolled out those who are supposed to vote, and this thing is basically on voting. There is the CAF technical crew. Now there are journalists, coaches, team captains, and all that, and also they also added clubs that participated at the group stages of CAF competitions. And if you come to Nigeria, Rivers United is there. So that means, remember, there was a time, I think was it Okota also, was supposed to win Africa Best. He didn't win. Eventually, when the voting pattern was reviewed,
we never voted for him.
He was not voted for. So this time around, I think if Victor Osimhen can get the vote, at least all the votes of the captain and the manager and all that of Rivers United, he has a point. And another thing is, in the voting pattern, there are ways that these votes count. If you have 3 short lists, the person you pick as your first has the highest points. The person you pick second has another 100. So you now see somebody who wants to vote for Osimhen, who go and pick Osimhen as third. Like that, to me, is a wasted
and vote. He will have lesser votes. So, and it's very important for them to get educated, because many of those journalists, they don't really have knowledge of how these votes are being rated. And it's a big problem.
So this time around, they need to. Then for the young players of the year, we have another Nigerian, Gift Urban. All those things. So they are the people that to be voted for and all that. Now, if you look at the national team of the year, you look at surprisingly, you look at Cape Verde, the Gambia, Guinea-Bissau, you look at Equatorial Guinea, Mauritania, Morocco.
So why Nigeria was omitted?
Senegal, Namibia, and then Mozambique.
Those countries perform better than Nigeria's national team.
Osaze, we did not qualify for the last World Cup.
Did Gambia qualify?
Osaze, look at the club ratings, where clubs in Nigeria are rated. Osaze, all these things to me also work out. Then CAF themselves have things they have looked at to pick. But remember, they looked at performances from September last year to August this year. Now, Osaze, also when we analyzed FIFA ratings here, there are things I told you. The category of countries you played, where they were rated when you played, and the results you get against them. So if you look at some of these countries, they have played some fantastic games against teams that are more or less rated above them, and they have garnered some points. Then the technical crew of CAF that selected these things, they saw some things that we cannot see even from here. So I believe their judgment, and they are correct in all that. Now, if you look at also the club of the year, no Nigerian club featured there. That is not surprising and all that. Then if you look at the coach of the year and all that, you look at so many other coaches, and even no Nigerian coach features in all these things. So eventually the award will take place on at Marrakech.
Morocco,
on the 11th of December.
Of course.
So by then they must have done the voting system, and they must have shortlisted the final 3 to be voted for. But the thing there is, if you as a Nigerian has an opportunity to vote, I do not choose Gift Urban as your first, and do not choose Osimhen.
Forget about the votes.
If at the end of the day Osimhen is not named CAF Player of the Year, we should not come here and say that they have robbed us. That is the point.
We should know the voting procedure, how these votes are being counted.
If they are voting as a journalist,
just hold on. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, Osaze.
Melody Chu is the king of phone number now.
Good evening, Osaze Sports, the dean of sports himself. Good evening.
Good evening, Melody. Welcome to the show.
It's happy new moon to you.
Same to you.
Okay, my brother, sir. Like I said, I am brother Melody Chu from him and Bano. Like you people are saying there, don't be surprised. And when that day comes, the name of Victor Osimhen will not be there. Don't be surprised. Who will play the game? Who will play all the politics that will be following it? Nobody. Since nobody was nominated except Victor Osimhen and that the other guy that all his names.
Gift Urban. Sorry.
Hello, Melody. Are you still on the line? Oh, please just call us back if you can. And this is the first time we will be having an award category for the best goalkeepers of the year, both for males and females. It's quite amazing.
Yes, it's amazing, and I think our Champion is a contender.
Yeah,
she should be there.
Yeah, she should be there.
If you look at the female category, Osola has been winning for the past five years, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and as it stands, I've not seen any other player in the female category in Africa to challenge except the Catalana of South Africa.
South Africa, that is the only, that is her nearest challenger.
The only contender to me to give her a run for her money in this award.
Well, let's hope the needful will be done at come 11. Hey, you were saying something about journalists voting.
Yes, what I was trying to say is that if a journalist, they have journalist forum everywhere. I know they have Nigerian category. They also have category for Africa and diaspora.
Please pause. Make sure you don't forget that. You still talk more. Hello, good evening.
Okay, same Melody Chooks.
Okay, welcome back.
Me now?
Welcome back.
I wish for Osimhen to win that Ballon d'Or, African Footballer of the Year. It is him. Let him win it, and let Nigeria help him to win this. It's not something he can do alone. Nigeria should play their own part as well, so that he will give us name again. Look at what is happening. Our team should have been named here as one of the best teams in Africa, but it was not mentioned. It was not even nominated. That shows you how we have failed in this country. But no problem. Let's watch and see. And I want to commiserate with Arsenal for losing their match last night. I thought they would have won West Ham outrightly, but the reverse was the case. But no problem. Then congratulations to Chelsea and other teams that will win. So my brothers, I don't have much to say, but I reserve my comments until the day they will give that African Football of the Year. Let it not be like that of Ballon d'Or, that they just give it to the person they wanted to give it to. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Melody Chooks. Remember, you can still call us on 090-922-29922 or 091-226-77989. Catch us live on Facebook at Boss Radio 98.9 from our like our page and drop your comment. You can as well send us a WhatsApp messages on 0806-999299. Complete your statement on journalists.
So the point I'm trying to make there is, CAF selected some countries, some member countries, that will vote in all this and all that. Now, in the journalist forum I'm talking about, you find out that in that forum, you still have journalists who there is nobody nominated from his country. Now, it is now left to you as a Nigerian journalist to make sure that you try to convince those other journalists to vote for your countryman. Yes, we may sound tribalistic, we may sound ethnic and all that, but this particular award, basically on voting, if you love your countryman and you want him to win this, to the glory and honor of the country, you have to go all out there for the person. Then let me correct an impression. Osaze, every award, whether FIFA award or the Ballon d'Or, has criteria for selection, and the voting pattern is part of it. When the pool of analysts analyze the players and shortlist the ones they want to be voted for, it's just like primary election. Parties elect and it bring the candidates for you to vote. You choose somebody and vote. If at the end of the day you did not vote, because when the FIFA voting this thing came, there was a time that Osaze was voted for. Sometimes they allow fans to even vote for players of the month. When you did not vote for that player,
hello, good evening.
Good evening, Osaze.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening, sir.
This is
welcome.
I've been listening to your analysis. Yes, thank you very much. I've been listening to your analysis. With all what I've said, I know that Osimhen unity is depends on our hands. It's only us that will make Osimhen to win that African Footballer of the Year. Because this is Africa. They know how to play their politics. We are Nigeria. If we are not together, I don't think that we will get anything out. Don't be surprised that Osimhen may be ruled out. Because it makes it like Ballador. Ballador, whereby they have prepared the result already. To know whom they want to be there. So this one now, I'm telling you that they must have prepared and know the person that will give it to. About Haaland, I don't know what is happening. Playing 6 matches, drawing 4, losing 2, and now they are on the 20th position. What are we talking about? What is the problem? I don't understand, my brother.
Okay.
So I pray to God. All of us should pray so that the things will change.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you. Hello, good evening. Hello. Okay. Just round up.
Yes, so the point I'm making there is those who think that these awards are robbed, at the end of the day, the organizers roll out the voting pattern and who voted for who. And all those things they roll out, nobody has ever come out to say, I voted for Osimhen, but you put my vote for Haaland. Nobody has said that. To show you that there is no ojoro in it.
But do you expect anyone to talk about that in the first place?
Osaze, for the whites. you Osaze, if you vote for Osimhen, if you are a qualified journalist to vote and you voted Osimhen number 1 and they publish the vote and you see your vote in number 2, Osaze, you will talk.
Okay, don't worry. Let's quickly read the Facebook messages we have here before we call it a wrap. This one is coming from Frank, of course, Frank Ajunama, who says, I don't just know to tell Tehag and his boys, Ikeguru. Thanks so much, Frank. Your this evening is quite terrific. Datisha Nobieka says, good evening, Osaze and Ozone Sports. I think Manchester United should get Eric Tehag packing as soon as possible to avoid relegation. Interesting. Datisha Nicola has another message. My top 3 African players for the best African player award are number 1, Victor Osimhen of Nigeria. Number 2 is Hamid of Barcelona. Okay, and the Morocco as well. Why number 3 is Mani. Interesting. You are pushing me to ask Uzon Sports who will be contesting that. We will not do that. It will still have some weeks to talk about it. Datisha, just calm down. Just calm down. Okay, let's quickly read the WhatsApp messages. This one says, Osaze, good evening. It's Engineer Chijoke from Umodu. Victor Osimhen deserved the African best and I hope he will win it. My greetings to Dino Zoma. Thanks so much. He's actually greeting you. Yeah, this was a good evening. I'm Davis from Area 8. Manchester United should do something before something happens. Therefore, Tehag, I personally will bring his Ghana must go before January. Keep on the good work. Okay, no wahala. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Osaze.
Yeah, welcome to Ball Sports.
Valentino calling from Bisa.
Liverpool. Kema can do this.
I'm not going to see myself.
I'm coming my brother. We are one Nigeria. You know, there is something people don't know. This Osaze originally is not purely Benin. It's Egyptian and people know.